very, very amazing panelists that you see here. I know most of you are students, so this is where you should aspire to be as well, right? So let's have a very quick round of intro from all of you, and then we'll dive into the questions. Sahil, I know you're short on time, so we'll keep it as well. No, please continue.
Alright, so then I'll keep it very quick and short. Thank you everyone for coming today. Thank you so much TG10X for making this happen. Thank you so much Alekhya for moderating us, and my co-panelists, thank you for being here. 14 years I have spent my workspace within building and growing the social impact ecosystem as well as the startup ecosystem. And I know going forward, retiring, this is where I'm going to be. So I'm very clear the path that I'm ventured on. It will be working towards founder outcomes and working very closely with founders. So that's my little journey.
You've already heard from me in the morning, so I'll keep my introduction very brief. I finish my introduction in one line. Wherever I go, I call myself an accidental engineer, passionate journalist, and a startup ecosystem enabler by choice. And why I mean the word choice? Because other two was like virtue of my education, and this was primarily by the virtue of my choice that I've taken to move from corporate to its startup ecosystem. So in one line, that's my introduction, and we'll talk more in the panel.
Good afternoon, everyone. Firstly, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure. I'm Ilyas. I head a startup incubator in MyStartupTV, Hyderabad. We work with idea stage companies, primarily students from tier 2, tier 3 colleges. ETMSA college, where I was about to take an admission, but it did not go through. Wow. But yeah, and with this, I've worked on a few ideas. I failed at most of them, and very recently, I've also joined the international venture called Social Impact Award, which is based in Austria, and they take several initiatives to support young entrepreneurs around the globe. So this is my major involvement. I'm surrounded with students, and that is what I'm best at. I'm best at working with idea stage companies and bang my heads with them when things don't work out. So yeah.
Great, fantastic introduction. Thank you, everybody.
Just one quick thing I wanted to add. Since a lot of you are students here, and just listening to his anecdote, if you don't get your desired college, you'll be invited to one as a panelist.
Yeah. Thank you. So I have noted down some questions very specific and some will be generic. So let's start, right? Adventure Path has almost worked with 550 plus student founders. We have as incubated over 3,000 startups, women-led startups. TGIC is upskilling almost 10,000 plus students. There is launching a new program for students. And we all know about T-Hub, right? Almost 2,000 plus companies worth around $2 billion. So the question is not whether opportunity exists, because it clearly does. I want to know, what is the path where students start? Like, what does that first step look like in your experience?
Okay, so when I work with these startups, when students they come to us, it's just a mere thought, and I think that is the only starting point. Just the will. If any one of us have seen Batman Begins, which is a pretty old movie, wherein there is this dialogue of training is nothing, will is everything, you'll be able to resonate with me, right? I think that is the most difficult step, wherein there are so many uncertainties, doubts, thoughts that would it work out, what would the society say, will my parents allow it, etc., 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 etc. But with your will to build anything that you wish to build, that is the starting point. In the very beginning, it doesn't matter if the market accepts it, if it will grow, if it will make it big. Everything you figure it out on the way. There is never a case wherein you have the perfect stage to start or a perfect time to start. You just have to start, and that is the whole point. Everything else you learn along the way. You don't have to be equipped with it, beforehand. And I guess that is one of the biggest misconceptions that students or idea stage companies have. I don't have the expertise. No one has the expertise. You just have to start, and you pick it up along the way. And that's the starting point, in my opinion.
Well said. Anyone wants to add something?
Same? Okay. Where does student innovators start? I think in Hindi we call it, that's a word called jugaad. How do you know this word?
Jugaad.
In startup ecosystem, I think as a student, we always start from a place of jugaad when we are not able to find the solution of anything. whether you are an art student, commerce student, engineering student, and you are stuck somewhere finding solution of a problem, you always come and stumble upon a thing called jugaad, and that jugaad is the beginning of a big innovation.
So Jugaad today in a polished way, we will call it strategy, the business strategy.
Well said. Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to invite our fourth panelist who is here today. Thank you so much for joining us. Please come on, guys.
They're beginning.
Can we have a round of applause, please? Thank you, guys. Hi. Nice. Please.
Give me one.
Yeah, sure. Water. We all finished a short round of intro. If you don't mind, could you also, please?
First of all, I'm sorry for being late. You know the Hyderabad traffic. I got stuck at Gachibowli Miapur Road. My name is Fakhruddin Sheikh. I really appreciate if you call me Samir. And I represent the Geetham University. I've been with this university for 16 years. I don't know much outside of the university, but I can talk a lot about the pre-incubation ecosystem that exists within the university.
Take this, please.
He just has to switch it on.
Yeah, do that.
Is this sound?
Yeah, it's okay.
Am I audible to you now?
Now it is.
Okay, great. So I was talking about myself, that I represent Geetham University. I basically come from one of the schools in the university called Geetham School of Business, and I happen to teach to MBA and BTech final year and UG BBA 5 guys in final year. So I had the responsibility to help the pre-incubation ecosystem. What do you mean by that is, we help these students raw ideas, their nascent ideas that they had, to convert them into businesses. That's what we play a major role into. For 6 years that we have been in the university ecosystem, we've been working with the Northeastern University, that's one of the best known university in US, to cater to the entrepreneurial spirits of students. It's in Boston, Massachusetts, and we have been rolling out a program called Venture Discovery course. So part of this course is every student who's getting admitted, they have to go through this course called Venture Discovery course, where the first part is personal discovery through entrepreneurial journey. So we would be looking at what are our core value systems, morals that we have to adhere to. Can we align with those two different problems that are existing in the community? So what we basically do to the students is to understand what are their sweet spots in terms of how can they relate to the different problems out there in the society, and form a team and work on those problems. That's what we typically inspire students to do. So far we have been doing for 6 years. I think we can say that in entire India, Geetham happens to be having the largest pre-incubation ecosystem. So people usually see that once a student has an idea that they have a bit of traction, then you have a lot of support from outside in terms of incubation centers like some of you guys are representing. But what happens within the education systems that not many people will talk about. And the horrible fact of this is that we have about 3,000 students joining every year. Any idea how many guys would be willing to take up this route? Not even 1% here. And with those 1%, we have parents who say, we have invested so many lakhs on your education, now you want to take up a entrepreneurial journey path that 90% is guaranteed that you would fail. So we have tough time convincing students who have that urge, that fire in the belly, as well as the parents who said, fine, what happens if you fall in that 90 pot? So it's not easy, guys, but we've been doing it. This year we have onboarded with Vadwani Foundation, and they have this program called Ignite. So everyone will be going through the program of Ignite, and then whoever needs some support will be reaching out to Sahil and then Fatima and then Ilyas to help those guys to find the mentors within the outside ecosystem. That's typically what I do.
Great. Thank you so much. I think students of
There is some problem.
just I think students of Geetham are lucky in that sense that they have a very nice setup. But I wanted to ask my next question, that many colleges in Telangana have e-cells, incubation labs, etc., incubation clubs, right? But there is often a large gap between what happens inside a campus and actually plugging into the state's startup ecosystem. I want to know, any of you who want to answer, what does that bridge look like in practice? What can a student do right now? Many of the students here might not have entrepreneurship cells in their colleges. What can they do right now without waiting for their college to lead the way?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, please.
All right. In our university, we call it as Entrepreneurship Club, okay, which is the backbone of Venture Development Center that I represent. The problems within the ecosystem, within the university is that they are not given the support that is required in terms of giving the freedom to go and then explore the opportunities outside, collaborate with them. First thing is the attendance part. If students are here, they would understand how important attendance is all about. In my university, if you don't get 75% in any of the subject, you won't have that name in the hall ticket. You can't do anything, not even the director, not even the pro-vice chancellor of the university. It's as rigid as possible. And we've been pushing to relax those educational requirements to sit for the exam. Even the UGC is giving 10% leeway for attendance, but the universities are not accepting it. So within the university, we should inculcate the support systems with all the major stakeholders. Maybe there's HODs to begin with, their faculty members, then the directors or principals, and then the pro-vice chancellor who head the entire university. Unless there is a system existing within the educational institutions, no matter what we've been talking about, harping on, nothing can be done about it. Then the next point comes, how can we reach out to other people?
See, what we are talking about happens within the university ecosystem. Not every college has the luck to have a very stringent faculty or a passionate person who is making these happen. I want to also know, what can students themselves do in order to, can they start reaching out to incubation centers directly? I want to also see, like you guys work with students directly. So what can the students here do today that can help them maybe bypass in some sense, or not wait for their college to take the first step?
Okay. In this, what we have is at least the incubation centers and existing within Telangana. These guys are doing a pretty good. In case Sahil is doing a fantastic job.
Sure.
Every month we have this meetups arranged for the incubation centers heads. Similarly, if we have any initiative that we can attract students from different institutions where they can meet together, the representatives of e-clubs, then they can support each other. And also, as incubation centers, we can also have some programs made for those sort of students who would like to know what is actually happening. So there is a disconnect that is existing outside of the education institutions, that as incubation centers, as the government bodies, we should work towards collaborating a platform where they can share these ideas.
Thank you, Samir.
Yeah.
What do you guys think, Sahil, Ilyas, Fatima? Any answers?
Okay. So,
Sahil, could you pass?
how many of your students here? Okay. So,
Can all the students here raise their hands, please? Even I wanted to know.
see,
Okay, thank you.
simple and the most meaningful answer in my sense is, you have to stop becoming students. For example, like let me tell you, what is the brand that a student carries with? And what is the mindset that a student carries? I am just a student. Okay, every one of you would agree, because deep down we think like that. I am just a student, मैं क्या ही कर सकता हूँ, मैं कितना ही कर सकता हूँ, right? We really have to kill that, and I think because of that mindset, there are people who take students not so seriously. But there is power in each and every one of us to change that, and that is the thought with which we started Adventure Park. You just have to be stop being student and start becoming more what do you say, ziddy in a good sense, right? Very stubborn. Just find your own path. Do not expect anyone to come to you and help you. That is never going to happen. Okay, even if you make a crore in revenue, there is still not going to be anyone who will come to you and be like, oh, you're doing such a good startup, oh, you're doing 1 crore in revenue, let me help you. That will not happen, no matter what. So stop expecting and start becoming, now I get the word, shameless. Respectfully shameless. I am a respectfully shameless person. Like for example, you have been to T-Hub?
Yes.
On the 7th floor there is MAP, which is the Center of Excellence for AI, right? I was there, when I was, the inauguration was happening. Now when the minister there, when he came for the ribbon cutting and opening, thanks to my beard and my, tall look, I went in with the minister as if I'm a part of his team. No one stopped me. Security did not stop me. I went with him inside the math office, took the entire tour with the minister. Right? I just became shameless. What will happen? ज़्यादा सा क्या होता? अरे सर आप मिनिस्टर सर के साथ नहीं है, प्लीज बाहर वेट करिए. मैं by default तो बाहर ही वेट कर रहा हूँ. So just wherever you see a chance, just become respectfully shameless because no one is going to come to you and give you that chance. You have to grab it, and you cannot grab it by having a student's mindset. By having this mindset, what can I do? You can do a lot, and there are several examples right now. Examples that Fatima is supporting, examples that Sahil is supporting, that Samir sir is supporting. Examples that have proven that as a student I can do a lot, and that is true, that is real. Okay, so just stop expecting support, but rather whatever you want, just start becoming shameless. And right now the ecosystem is very, very, very open. You can walk into most of the incubators, let that be Adventure Park, reaching out to Sahil, let that be anything. It has become way easier. You just have to be shameless. So my only realistic take would be that just start becoming shameless, because that is how I have met some of the best founders in my life who are doing really, really well right now.
So be brave, respectfully shameless, right? Fair enough. Any other answers?
Yes. So from the government ecosystem point of view, I think you'll also have to understand the reality check. When you ask about academic innovation, student innovation not being where it's supposed to be, you have to go back many years ago, and you have to draw parallels how the Indian education system began, right? It all boils down to how Lord Macaulay made that entire education system policy, and we have been following ever since. So when you look at the Indian startup ecosystem, it's just a 10-year-old entire ecosystem. 2016 was when Indian Startup India was formulated, January 16, and it's just a 10-year-old ecosystem from the nation side. And when you compare 10-year-old ecosystem with a 175, 200-year-old education system, there's a huge gap that needs to be filled in. So people are not ready to come out of that 175-year-old mentality and trying to compete with a 10-year-old ecosystem that's going with a very rapid space and rapid fast pace as well. One of the examples that I can tell you, today is Sunday and a lot of people are here coming for this conference. But why, can anybody tell me from the audience why Sunday was originally chosen to be the holiday for a week? From schools, from offices. Why not any other day? It's again part of the whole ancient education system that we have been part of. Because when Britishers were making the entire education policy, education system, Sunday was the day when they used to go to churches to pray. So Sunday by default was chosen their day for leisure activities, right? And that's how it all boiled down, inculcated into our education system, that we started having holidays, and then corporates later adopted the same thing. Similarly, when it comes to startup ecosystem, there are so many nitty and gritties that needs to be inculcated in the educational campuses. Samir sir talked about the challenges that the parents see, that I'm investing X amount of money on my child's education, and by end of 4 years degree, he should be able to come out with a package of 2X. Now, can we say the same thing about the entrepreneurship world? How much exactly? My message very clear to the young founder. In the morning, couple of people were talking to me, sir, we have been building this solution from last few years and unable to make a customer. I asked the same thing. How much are you investing in your college? X amount, right? And by studying for 4 years, how much package on an average you get? It's not even X, it's like X by half. So mindset shift has to be there realistically also, that you study for 4 years in a college, come out with a package of X by 2, and now in the startup ecosystem you hardly spend 6 months or 2 years, and you are expecting to generate a revenue of 5X or 10X or 20X. That cannot happen. It may happen with some people may get lucky, sometimes it happens by fluke, but it's not a structured system. And even if some people get early successes, I think Ilyas, Fatima, they have enough examples. We have seen that. I don't know what the exact Telugu phrase for that, but in Hindi we call it जो जल्दी उठता है वो बहुत जल्दी गिरता भी है. So same thing, we have seen enough examples in startup ecosystem. You need to have that patience, that structured approach towards approaching entrepreneurship. It's not a very like easy journey for the thin skin. You need to really have that crocodile skin on your back, and then only you can approach entrepreneurship as a career. And we are far away from even adopting entrepreneurship as a career in as compared to current educational ecosystem. And when I look at from the state innovation ecosystem side, the monthly roundtable that Samit talked about, even for the professors or the incubation in charges to come and attend that ecosystem monthly meetup, there are a lot of friction from their management, and it will not be dying down in one single day. See, things take time. If I have to break this table, I will make one attempt, two attempts, three, four, 99 attempt, it will not break. But in my 100th attack, it will break. So, what is the contribution of my 100th attack was so powerful, so strong that it broke? No. Every single attack or hit that I made was equally contributing. Similarly, we have been trying things, we have been moving things from the ecosystem side. And please understand, guys, it's just been 10 years. And in 10 years, if I talk about stories of success, we have enough data available to prove that this ecosystem model is taking us places. Right now, Startup India data shows we have around 2,61,000 registered startups in Startup India. And there are 1,200 plus incubators directly government supported, 500 plus incubators privately owned and industry owned, right? So, in just 10 years, if we have been able to achieve all these numbers, how many unicorns have we have seen from India only in 10 years? Don't be very superficial comparing it with the best. They started many years ago, right? So be realistic. Things does take time, but we also have the results to prove it and produce it that this ecosystem model is definitely working and we are at the right place. You just need to have little patience, little kind of faith and belief that it will take some time, but eventually it will happen. Right?
Fantastic. Thank you, Fatima.
So I'll pick from the previous question and also I'll add up to this. Ilyas sir mentioned about skill, will, and then Sahil sir mentioned about jugaad. I want to ask, when during summer season we have something that with a lot of heat your body starts to itch, right? What do? We fix that itch, or do you learn to tolerate and survive that itch? Can you? Do you? We don't, right? Similarly, even in your own lives as a student, think about what is itching you. What is that pain? What is that frustration that you really want to solve? And to answer your question, Alekhya, as students, what you can really start doing, your lowest hanging fruit is start with a passion project. Fix a problem that you are facing, your community is facing, your fellow peers are facing, not to test the idea or how greatly will you be able to solve the problem, but just testing yourself as a founder. Will I be able to pull off something if I really start? If I start something, will I be able to stick around? I think that's your starting point.
Very nice. Thank you. I actually have a question for the audience. I know that after lunch, sleepy time, so let me ask something, right? What is the one thing that you can gain when you do a passion project? When you complete it, what is the one thing you think you can gain? Just put your hands up, I'll call upon you and you can answer. Somebody, yes please.
Satisfaction.
Oh, great answer, right? Satisfaction. What else? What else? Boys at the back. Yes.
Boy in the front.
Oh, yes please.
What happens is at times you come out of the shell and you think that कुछ नहीं कर पाए थे but कुछ तो कर पाए.
Maybe your comfort zone, right? You're coming out of your comfort zone. Great answer. What else?
Yeah. No regrets.
No regrets, yeah. Okay, that's an interesting answer. At the end of the day, you're young. You can afford to make mistakes. You can afford to find your path, right? What do you think happens to your confidence levels? Increases sky high. When you, oh, this is something. Swap, okay. Let us swap. When you finally do a passion project and you see the result, your confidence is like never before. You feel you can take on the world, and that's something every youngster should experience, right? So in that spirit, I want you to listen to the conversation. We have an interesting goodie bag. When you ask a question, at the end we have a round of questions, right? A cool goodie bag will be given to the student who asks the best and most interesting question. Okay? Does it work, some of you all? Okay, thank you. Alright. I have a question for you precisely, Sahil. TDIC works across 70 plus incubators, academic institutions in Telangana, right? From a student's perspective, whoever is in the room today, and also who is going to listen on YouTube, right, hopefully, what is the single most underrated resource or program that TDIC offers and that they should be running to sign up for?
Okay, that's see,
A bit specific.
today is World's Father's Day, and it's very unfair for a father to pick one child over the best, right? So when you ask for TGIC picking one particular program or initiative that we have taken, a student should be running to sign up for it straight away, I will not be biased. I think all our programs right now have been strategically designed in a manner that is going to serve every age and every category of the not only student entrepreneurs but all the rural entrepreneurs that we have, the social entrepreneurs that we have. So there's a reason why we made it categorically specific to every audience group.
Yeah.
Battery short.
Yeah.
But having said that, since most of the beneficiaries and attendees today are falling into that 18 to 30 age group, so student focus program, I think TGIC Innovation Panchayat is doing a phenomenal job. We started years back, and the idea was very simple. Since 70 to 80% of our beneficiaries are starting at tier 2, tier 3, tier 4. So it felt from a point of pain also that I'm asking an innovator to come to Hyderabad from Niyamabad just to validate their idea month after month, and it used to pinch me that I had to think from their shoes that if I were in their position, how would I feel traveling to Hyderabad just to meet one resource person, just to meet one mentor, just to get some clarity on the thing, on the POC that they're building. And then I discussed with my management, and we all came down to design a program called Innovation Panchayat, where the idea was, okay, they may not come to Hyderabad every single time, but what about we take a set of mentors along with us on different subject matter experts, right? Let's say somebody needs help and guidance in prototyping, somebody needs help and guidance in marketing, scaling, fundraising. So what we did, Ilyas was part of the first district panchayat that we did in Mahbubnagar. We booked the bus, we put all these people from ecosystem, not booked, but we requested to come. And we took them to Mahbubnagar. It was like a proper picnic that we were going from Hyderabad and travel for 3 hours, and then when we sat there, we were hardly expecting around some 40-50 people will come, because you were getting delayed. 10 o'clock for the timing of the program to start, and by 10, 10, 15, 10, 20, hardly over 20 people in the room. And we all were thinking and sitting like, okay, did we make a mistake? Did we over-assume things in advance? And then suddenly 10:45, one big bus comes and 200 people comes out.
Wow.
Another bus comes in 15 minutes, and again the hall was jam-packed. We did not have enough chairs, and 350, 370 plus people came just to listen that यहाँ पे हो क्या रहा है. And then we started having that one-to-one consultation with the mentors, and by the end of the day, we planned the entire event for half a day till 2 p.m. We were supposed to get over, and kept on going till 6:30.
Wow. So
that's the kind of energy, that's the kind of motivation you will have when you plan something for the beneficiaries. My CEO tells me one time that show them a vision that they have not seen before. Take them to places that they have not been before, and then you will see starting of the magic happen, right? So Innovation Panchayat is definitely one program that I'll definitely recommend, nudge each one of you to be a part if you're a student. Apart from that, if you're living in Hyderabad, so we are always open. We have one day in a week that we dedicate to listening newer ideas from all across Telangana. Please feel free to come down to TR, knock door number 17 at third floor, and our doors are always open, right? So we as a state nodal body, we cannot differentiate and pick just one, but depends on what you are coming up with. If you are coming up with very specific sector specific demand or ask, then we may take the help of all the enablers sitting beside me and will connect you with them. But that does not mean that we are running away from our duties. That also means that I know my limitation really well. I also understand that I cannot do everything alone. I as an ecosystem enabler, this is my hand, I cannot do everything alone.
Correct.
Can you just give your hand?
Shake hands.
She is also an ecosystem enabler. She also knows she cannot do everything alone, bigger things alone. But when this I and you becomes we, this can shake the world. And this is what we believe in, the collaborative power of ecosystem.
I think that deserves a huge round of applause, don't you think? Thank you, Sahil. How many of you have heard these words, students? Incubator, accelerator. Have you heard it? Yes? No? Okay. So the question here is, many students have heard about it, but they often confuse the two, right? And some students who are in the stages of creating something keep applying to the wrong one. So can the panel break down, maybe starting with Fatima, exactly when should a student knock on an incubator's door versus when do they knock on an accelerator's door? And what should they bring with them? What should they bring to the table?
Okay, great. Thank you so much. In fact, this links me to one of the initiatives which we do at TG10X called the Startup Zone, which is essentially where we pull together, curate, research manually, by the way, all the funds, grants, accelerators available within the ecosystem just for you guys as founders or as students, right? Now, an incubator's primary responsibility, and I'm not saying that there is a stark distinction between the two. Yes, there is overlap, but a primary responsibility of an incubator, like Elias sir runs at Adventure Park, is to start with an idea and give it a shape or a life, right? Something which is here at least comes on paper or in shape of a prototype. That is what incubation means. And I think one of the easiest way to understand is when a child is born, right, and you put the child into an incubator, there is very close support resources available to constantly observe what's happening while the child is put inside the incubator. That child, imagine, is now your idea, and you have the ecosystem and the resources around who's constantly monitoring and help you nurture and incubate on that idea. Now, whereas an accelerator, the word accelerator itself is to speeden up, is to add growth, is to add push. If you are at point A, the accelerator's primary responsibility here would be to push you from A to B by the time you finish the sprint of the accelerator. That would be my understanding.
Great, thank you. And guys, remember, you can access all of this information for free on campus.tg10x. So please sign up and ask your friends also to sign up, right? Wonderful way to keep in touch with what's happening.
I'll keep it very brief, the difference between incubator and accelerator. I was just talking to one young founder the other week, and no matter how much I was able to explain in the technical definition of incubator, accelerator, he was still bugging me, can you give me a realistic example? So suddenly out of nowhere, this example came to my mind that if you are a new car learner, right, you don't know how to drive. So what you do initially, you sit on the next seat to the driving person and you observe. The person will tell you, okay, ऐसे gears लगाते हैं, accelerator, brake, clutch, and that you just have to sit and observe for few days. Then once you're done observing, this person will give you the chance to go on the driving seat and he will still be sitting next to you with the handbrake in his hand. That if you make a mistake, they will always pull the handbrake, right? Still, you are always advised to go till a certain speed limit. Now, this person will keep hand holding you for few days. Next few days, this person will remove the handbrake. Now you learn the art of driving, and then he will ask you to speed up. Okay? Now, few days again passes on, and now this person tells you, okay, stop. He comes out of the car and leaves you driving the car independently. That's the exact definition of an incubator or accelerator. I don't know if I was able to make sense.
Yes, no, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I'll keep it brief, but see, think of incubator as a buffet restaurant. There is no a la carte. Okay. There is a lot of items, dishes kept there, but it is you who has to pick up the plate and eat whatever you want to eat. You will find all the resources, you will find support, but you will not be able to access anything unless you ask. That's when I first mentioned about being shameless, but that is the reality. Like even if you're a part of, let's say, VHub, it's a wonderful community, right? Such amazing leadership that is, taking VHub to the next level. If you have met Sita, if you have met Kiran, right? Amazing people, right? Incredible community, incredible opportunity. Of course, it is supported by the government. You'll find the best of people in the city there, right? But it's again a buffet, right? You have to go and you have to pick. You have to take whatever you want, right? So that is like an incubator, and getting into an incubator will never guarantee your startup will work or can never guarantee your success. If there is an incubator who's saying that, then please report it as scam, because that is just not true and that can never happen, right? An incubator wants to work with the founder, an investor wants to work with the founder. Even when you're recruiting a set of interns or you're building a team, even they want to work with the founder. So you as a founder, your vision, your energy, that is what matters. Rest everything else builds on top of it, right? So that is the reality, that is the truth. Please do not think that if you're a part of any incubator, then your success is guaranteed or anything as such. You always have to work for your survival, and you have to tap into the resources, the support that is there available for you. But you have to go and reach out, and you have to ask. Like for this community that is built now, TG10, this initiative, it is you who has to go and you have to leverage it, right? Now, sir cannot go to everyone and knock on everyone's door and be like, "You need help, I can help you." Right? He is there telling openly that he's there, but you have to come up and pick it. An accelerator is a multiplier. So if you go with zero, no matter whatever you multiply it with, you'll still be zero. So an accelerator is only, it makes sense only when you have something on hand, and an incubator is a place where you go from point A to point B.
Thank you. Samir, I have a question for you. Maybe last two questions before we open up the Q&A round.
Yep.
See, there are a lot of students in Telangana working on prototypes, right? But many of them are not, haven't had their first revenue yet. So what is your first realistic source of capital? Maybe yes, they close their first customer, they start experiencing revenue. But those who are looking for it, is it government grants, angel investors, incubator support? What does the path look like? Because Geetham has such a thriving ecosystem. I want to know your experience.
First, I will talk what we do at Geetham. So students comes out with their ideas, and they talk about their prototyping requirements. So what we do is, before they actually are given any grant, basically there are two things we call grant and funding. Grant is something that we give, but we don't expect anything in return. Funding is something that we invest, and then we take maybe less than 0.95% out of it. Right. So to be eligible for this, a student has to clear certain stages. Say, for example, ideation and the customer discovery, solution design, and building the MVP. So it's like be on little prototype. Once they are there and they have cleared that we have this solution that can work, then we give the opportunity to pitch to the three different deputy directors and then the dean of business school and some external expertise who come along. If they clear the pitch, then they are eligible to apply for prototyping grant of 2 lakhs. So they are given in 2 tranches. The first thing is they have to tell us how are they going to use this 1 lakh amount. No, it's not a huge amount, but at least a little precursor that they need. And if they are going to give us the bill of materials, how are they going to use it? This 1 lakh would be there in there. And if, for example, if we are not sufficient to build this, they go for the second round. Apart from this, we have outside support elements, like we have IIT, we will do build programs. And if you are even just qualifying it, they're going to give you 50,000 rupees in your account. And in India, the government of India has certain huge support system that people talk about. 35 to 40 crores are there for an idea-based startup.
Do you hear that, guys? 35 to 40 crores. Not bad, right?
For one single startup. Right? I work with people who come from the background. They get 20, 30 lakhs easily in a 1 year by competing in different platforms. So to do this, they need to be aware that there are certain, say for example, Ministry of Electronics and Technology, MIT is one, and there is this defense specified events that are happening in IIT as well, and Sahil also conducts certain things, and then we have, they also run programs. So these are the platforms where they have to go and then pitch their idea. So that then the exposures needs. So once they clear that, there is the second round of support existing.
Very nice.
Right.
It also gives the students practice, right? Pitching in multiple competitions, applying for grants. It gives them much needed practice to actually continue building.
And one, sorry, Alex, what we do is, we run a program called, not program, it's an event called Smart Ideathon. For about 2020 we started, 6 times we have held it. We provide the support. For example, anybody who wins this event, they are given free of travel facilities to US. And in the Northeastern University, they hold 1 week completely entrepreneurial immersion program.
Wow.
So they will be taken to Harvard Business School, they will be taken to Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and if they having ideas, what kind of support that they can extend to them. And Geetam provides you the entire support in terms of their visa, travel, stay, and everything.
Very nice.
So these sort of things have to be there. Yeah, okay, unless we do that, people will not be able to take up.
What are the other opportunities anyone from the panel want to add?
I think events like these are the best places for you to start with. You'll find the right people. Of course, there will be some hard work and you researching, and you can start by researching the agenda. Like if you have researched about the agenda of today's event, who are the speakers, what background do they come from, you get the agenda of every event almost everywhere. Go there and you will find the right support there. Investment is a little bit tricky space because remember that an investor is an employee that you can't fire. So it's important that you work with the right set of people, and you and the investor both are desperate. It's just that the investor never shows his or her desperation, right? As much as you want the money, even the investor wants to invest his or her money because they don't want their money to be idle. So, but you have to be a little bit smart. You cannot let desperation kill the logic to help you out, right? Grants, in my opinion, is just a bonus to what you are doing, but you cannot build a company on the foundation of grants. It's just like school में science fair होता है, देखिए जो छोटे बच्चों को जो थर्माकोल पे प्रोजेक्ट बनाते हैं, oh very good बेटा हो गया. If you build a company on your on the basis of grants, then that is you're a school kid who has built a science fair project that cannot take shape. Grants is a bonus. It's there. You please apply and get it, but don't depend on it. And find the right person, find the right people in these right events, and you'll find opportunities wherein you can raise money. And that Hyderabad has a lot of money, and you will understand that once you start getting more deep in that. And I think that will be the best way, in my opinion.
Thank you, Ilyas. Maybe last question. You want to? Yeah, I know you're on the time.
About Smart India Hackathon event.
Yeah.
Okay, one more answer for the same question.
Right, guys. In India, we have the world's largest hackathon event happening every year that happens between August and September time. So kindly participate in that event, and you get to know what are the real-time problems that the different industries and the government ministries are facing. They'll make a list. Last time it was a list of about 340 odd problems they had given. You can start choosing one of those problems, find a faculty mentor or outside mentor who can help you out in designing the solution for it. Through that, you'll be able to participate in those events, and then you get to know what exactly students do. This is something that I want to talk to you about, guys. Thank
It's
you.
called Smart India Hackathon.
SIH.
Remember guys, Smart India Hackathon, okay? Last question for the panelists. See, entrepreneurship is generally perceived by students as a big eureka moment, right? A perfect pitch or a winning product. But I work with multiple incubation centers. We actually set them up in universities. I have also mentored a lot of students, and I find that it is not one thing. It's kind of like what you said, keep on hitting the same thing. Build over a period of time, right? It's a mindset that you need to continue to build. It is also something that makes you look at problems and say, when the other person says, oh my god, there are 370 problems, some of you may say, okay, this is an opportunity that I can participate in. So what can each of the students here start doing today, like right now, like one word, right, and tell me what you mean by that, and how can they build that kind of mindset? Maybe start from Fatima. She needs a small mic also. Yeah.
One word. You guys have an unfair advantage to think of. She puts me on the spot.
There's more gap there.
Okay. I just took that time.
Yeah, smart.
Okay. So I think it's about having that unfair advantage when you start through research, right? And please don't underestimate the power of knowledge here, right? There are a lot of people who start and then figure out on the go. Maybe that's good enough. But the ones who are starting with knowledge, with research, they exactly know these are the right rooms, these are the right places, these are the right people that I need to meet with, build my foundation. So I think one of the words that I would choose would be foundation when you start, because while a lot of grant, capital, resources, great ideas are available, at the end people are going to judge you as a founder first. So please build your foundation with all the founder mindset and the entrepreneurial skills required. That would be my take.
Thank you, Fatima.
One word.
How can they build a mindset, right? Yeah.
I think one word that I'll endorse about building an entrepreneurial mindset. How many have seen that movie Gladiator? Half the audience. I don't know what's that word called, but the ability to bounce back after a big fall, right? Resilience. That will be one word in terms of an entrepreneurship journey. So that's my answer.
And the reason is also there are going to be a lot of times you need that, right? Many people might not trust you. You might not get your first client. So how are you going to be resilient and believe in your idea?
Bill Gates said this, that success is a lousy teacher. Success is a lousy teacher, it teaches you nothing. My one word would be experiment. By that I don't mean that fail. That's a part of it, right? But the more you experiment, the stronger you get, right? Do not take it as a negative thing. I know it's tough on you, but that is actually making you stronger. And with every experiment, your confidence builds, your clarity is, it's improved, and that will help you build the right mindset. And I would, second what Fatima said about research and about knowledge. You stepping in, before you stepping into the room, your research will help you build the right confidence. So keep doing that along the way and keep experimenting. Some things might work out, some things might not work out at all, right? But with every step, you're getting closer to what you wish to achieve. Like Peter Westerberger was the founder of Angry Birds. Can you guess which game was it? Was it his 10th game or 20th game, or which game that became successful? Before Angry Birds, how many games did Peter build? Any guess? Any guess? How many games did Peter build before Angry Birds? Now everyone here knows Angry Birds, right? There's no one who doesn't know Angry Birds. It was his 51st game. So he hit a half century in his experiments, but 51st game he made it, right? So you're getting closer. So just don't lose hope and keep experimenting.
I would like to thank you, Alake, for coming up with this word called entrepreneurial mindset. For us, it's the core of philosophy, and the mission of our Venture Development Center is to touch entrepreneurially 1 million people by 2030. And you students will be wondering, what do you mean by this entrepreneurial mindset? If one word I have to suffice for that would be problem-solving ability. All right, we need to find the problems through our experiences or through our friends, family members' experiences that are not being addressed. If you can find a problem and can validate the problem really exists by talking to people we call in our language customers. If you talk to customers, get to know what are the real pain points that they have, and your solution would solve not all the pain points, even a bit of it, then I think there is a reason for you to exist. So if you have to tell me a one word that I have to suffice, is problem solving.
No, it's a great input. Right? Thank you so much. All right, we throw the floor open to questions from audience now. Students, you heard the panel. What questions do you have to ask? And remember the surprise goodie bag.
How do you protect the ideas that have been shared? Because obviously it will be copied, but again, how do you protect it? Because someone says that that's my unique idea, I was interested in research. How do we do that? Because that's the biggest concern. I've gone through that pain. I've just gone ahead, shared something to a school saying that can you do this? They said not now, and after 2 months my children say that the school is doing the exact same thing, and when we call they said we have the muscle, we have the deep pockets, we just have an idea, we have execution muscle.
Anybody like to?
And that has happened to me multiple times, not once and twice. And now I'm worried saying that I'm not sharing this civic ideas with anyone.
So I think it's a very valid question, and you also answered it partially by saying who has the execution mastery for it, right? So anyone who is able to hit the nail harder and faster first will have the ownership on that idea also. Now, unfortunately, we don't have patents available to block ideas, but that's when, if you feel that I'll be able to pull this off, build it into a product myself, patent it and then take it out to the world, that's your route.
That's what we've done is actually all these days, I think 10 ideas we shared, someone copied it, but then this one we said, because we tried under the carpet, nothing to be published anywhere.
Yeah.
As I told Silencer, we wrote it down in books and books, but not published anywhere online.
Yeah.
Many stealth startups are doing exactly that. They are sharing their
That's stealth startup. You need to be in stealth mode then.
Any other answers for the question? And guys, please think, ladies and gentlemen, yeah. Next question after somebody answers.
Okay. See, it's very unfortunate with what happened, but like how Fatima mentioned, there is no patent to an idea. It can be an IP wherein you have a specific formulation or dimensions on something the product has. That definitely can be patented. I understand that has happened, but another thing in general, what I want to say is that as we speak, somewhere in another corner of the world, there are a group of people who are sitting and working on the same idea that you are thinking.
Yeah.
Right? That's the reality. So it's not your mistake. It's like we're born very late. All the great ideas are already, they're taken. Right? No matter what, wherever you go, any idea you interact with, 99.9% of them are there who have a competition because someone else is building that. So the possibility of an extremely unique idea is it's very, very bleak right now, but that is there. Execution is the only thing that matters, and if there is someone who executes better than you, then that person deserves to win. You also have to gulp that in and accept that. And I'm saying in general, because in your case it's very different, but in general there are a set of people who are working on the same idea that you think of, and it's all about who executes better. So, and that's the way of the world. You cannot do anything about it. You can cry over it, but at the end, what you are wasting your tissues, nothing else. So, yeah.
That's it. I was talking about that, saying that research is what is important. Take as many problems as possible, and that's what fortunately we landed in saying that let's dig into a couple of years, let's understand what is happening, and we're collecting massive data. We created something and then we presented it to the Indian Army veterans. They said you have cracked into the sweetest spot that no one has attempted till date, and then fortunately boys have gone into the gated community schools, corporate offices, presented. They said this is the sweetest spot and the problem that every parent is facing, and you have figured out it. So that's why we're just waiting for the launch of it. And
Nice.
sure, love to hear that.
All the
Very
best
nice.
for that.
So youngest entrepreneurs in the room, guys.
The biggest achievement is that 5 of them, the top Indian Army officers, Major Generals, Lieutenant Colonels, they've onboarded them as their advisory board members. They've got a congratulatory message from Bihar governor as well.
Very nice.
So
We have prodigies right in the room, and for entrepreneurship, age is really just a number.
Yeah.
You can start at any age. Just to add one more point, just sometimes an entrepreneur might be under the illusion that I have thought of the most unique idea. That may not be the case, which is where research comes in.
We actually validated it with the parents and were saying that did you come across the solution? Is this what is required? They said we were desperately waiting for this, and it happened.
See, sometimes instead of sharing it, I mean, while I'm not a panelist, I'm also a founder, and don't share your ideas with everybody. There are organizations like T-Hub and TAI which will maintain, and also DigitalX, where you have a hierarchy, where you have a closed setup, which is a trusted network for you to utilize. I think that would be one of the things I suggest to anybody, because when you are discussing an idea, even at an idea validation stage, a mentor who is there to mentor you can guide you better than random people with money.
No? Yeah. This is recently what the logic that we follow is the Rangoli logic. We just try putting each of our individual dots. We've never showed the entire pattern to anyone.
Nice, very nice.
Except the Indian.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Yes, please.
So basically, India has no shortage of talented students. But only very few student-led ventures turn into impact businesses. What do you think? What is the most single reason which is stopping the student-led ventures to not turn into proper successful businesses? Apart from that, also the panel discussed about competitions and hackathons. There is a significant effort being invested in hackathons, challenges, and innovation competitions. But how can we turn this into a long-term entrepreneur-making machine rather than just short-term competition with a student? How to do that?
I'll try to answer to the best of my understanding and knowledge. Now at Bauer School of Entrepreneurship, we have something called as a 3 years entrepreneurship program and an 18 months program. Now these are generally young folks, right? And our CEO, Mr. Pawan, again happens to be a young entrepreneur and happens to be a third time founder, right? Started when you guys, probably when he was your age. Had he not failed in his first startup, Bauer would not have been established itself, because he understood and realized problems from his first startup, which led to his second startup, which got successfully acquired and then became the third one, while he was still a young student entrepreneur, right? Now, one of the things that we're trying to fix this problem, and when I say fix this problem, I'm also acknowledging that that is a problem, right? We're launching something called as Bauer Capital, right? And this is essentially to help student-led founders from Bauer School to get venture accelerated, developed, and also help with strategic investment, where we have skin in the game for the startups as well, and we are able to claim that yes, these are the startups that we want to handhold, these are the startups that we want to back. If there are more such initiatives or more such opportunities that can be established by a lot of other ecosystem players within our Telangana state, I think there is a lot of room for young, talented innovators, builders who can become solid founders. There is a lot of opportunity and space available. But yes, it has to be a two-way street, and both sides will have to make efforts for that. That would be my take.
Any other answers? You can go next after this.
See, I'll speak from my experience. I'll first answer your second question about the hackathons bit. While selecting or while evaluating who wins the hackathon, the factor of how much the market readiness aspect of the project, I think that is heavily ignored or kept a little aside, and the technology is given more weightage than that. See, I think most of the hackathons, it shouldn't be about creating something which is very fancy, very fascinating, but is of very less use. And usually these kind of projects, they win because they sound very good, they sound very fancy, and then they're happy with whatever 50,000 rupees that they have won, and they go along every hackathon and they kind of like make tweaks and changes, and they keep doing the same thing. I think I've seen and met so many such projects, right? Now, there might be people who would be like, who would not really like what I'm saying, but all of us, we know that, we also have met those set of projects, right? I think that aspect has to change a lot more. You should also focus on, is it something which the market needs? Is it viable? Is it making sense? Will people really pay for it, and so on and so forth, right? I think correcting that is a little difficult, but I see that gap there. And with respect to the first question about now I've worked with around 300 plus startups, all student led, okay, and what I've seen has been the major reason why they were not able to take their idea like way ahead is them giving up pretty fast. The one who doesn't give up, the one who's more perseverant, like who's more ziddy, that person actually makes it. And it is going to be a super tough journey. But in that competition, there is someone else who's surviving, that there is you who's surviving, and the one who doesn't really give up easily will be able to make it. And even as an incubator, we can push the founder till a level after which, if we start executing for them, we are making them weak. And this is a mistake which we made. Right? We thought we have to push these students, we have to push them, and it ended up being spoon feeding kind of thing. Yeah. Right? Now, for example, like the founder drafted an email which he had to send. It was important to someone important, to another important person. He waited till I read his email draft, which he sent over to me on WhatsApp, and if I say good to go, then he'll send it. I was not here, I was traveling, and after 2 days he's like, is this good to go? And I'm like, it has been 2 days and we haven't sent this email. No, I'm a little bit afraid, I don't know if there might be some mistake in it. So you can't really spoon feed them, you can't really make them that dependent. So it is painful even for me when I see every cohort that this startup can do well, but I know that the founder is not putting in as efforts which he or she should be putting in, and they give up because it is difficult, because बाहर खूब ज़्यादा है, या फिर घर में दावत है, या फिर जो भी है, राइट, कुछ तो भी है जिसकी वजह से नहीं कर रहे, राइट, तो तकलीफ होती, बट कुछ भी नहीं कर सकता मैं, बस मेरी कंपनी नहीं है, आपकी कंपनी, आपका आइडिया है, राइट, and we as students, we tend to give up relatively much easy, in an easy way. I guess that because we have the luxury of failing or whatever it is, but the moment when we are sticking to it with data that this is going to happen, I'm going to make it happen, with that complete effort, I think it will really do well. And that's
thank you, Ilyas. Yeah, after, yes, please.
So actually, for those who don't know, I started a company when I was 17. So 2 years ago, I started as a content marketing agency, because I've been a big fan of manufacturing in India, and I know the gap between manufacturing and all. And recently, like from my 2 years of experience, and we did a firm revenue of 15 lakhs, and an incline revenue of $200,000, expanded to 3 plus countries. And the context why I'm saying this is because recently, like we are working on AI contents for manufacturing. We have deployed it in other countries, and I just came back from Gujarat, talking to many manufacturers there and meeting a lot of manufacturing teams. So I have this question that often we founders, like as a student founders, what I realized is that we often think starting is the point, and there is a lot of experienced mentors that we require. And what often happens is now as founder I need to travel from place A to place B. So finding that right founder is also good, right mentor is always a problem. So now that I'm traveling more in India, and I'm first time entrepreneur, so I have multiple questions in my mind. And after this review, still I came to Hyderabad yesterday. There was this event by Draper, and then there I found someone who can be the right mentor and who has worked in the manufacturing space. So I believe there is this small problem I just want you guys to notify is that we often, as a founder, there's a reason why that guy is texting you that this is Gmail okay. It's not because he's scared to fail. It's because if something goes wrong, this might be the only point to getting there. So, as a founder, as a student founder, that is my question: is that how a founder can find the right mentor, and how can the timeline be written?
Okay.
Great question.
So, very shortly, a great mentor or a mentor will never advertise himself or herself as a mentor and go on and keep saying that I'm a mentor, I'm a mentor. Like, you really have to find who's the right person for you, which you met at Draper. And because their primary job is not advertising themselves as a mentor. They are busy in their ventures. They are busy in the in the company that they are building and making it bigger. If you see that this is the person who holds the right expertise, right? Let's say if I'm into manufacturing, I see someone who's into let's say the founder of maybe Tupperware or Cello. This guy is really relevant for me. Just find contacts. क्या बोलते हैं उसको हाथ पैर मारिए साम दान धन भेद जो हो सकता करिए and try to get an appointment and try to meet that person, because if you are building something which is relevant and if that person finds that there is value that he or she can add. See, these leaders, they do not see what do I get in return, will this give me money or this and that. They're just actually genuinely happy to support you with whatever you require, and they're happy to see you making it big, right? They do not see it as a transaction. Most of the leaders, they don't see it as a transaction. So it's all about you going and asking them, and if they see that they can add value, they'll be happy to give their time, they'll be happy to give you their resources, their support, and so on and so forth. So find the right person and just find ways to get there. But in general, you might not find someone who's a very resourceful mentor for you, who's who advertises that I'm the right person for you. You have to find them. It's not them. Like, Rishta aapka hai to.
Just to add to what Ilyas sir mentioned, now you might wonder or others might wonder, लेकिन ढूंढे कहाँ से, right? कहाँ मिलेंगे ये लोग? I think which is where ecosystems exist. If you're a part of one ecosystem, and right now while we're all sitting on the stage, we all have our own roles and responsibilities. We're all connected with each other, right? And we're connected because we want to stay connected, because like how Sahil was mentioning, right? He alone may not be able to support everyone, but that's where his network comes into picture. I might not be able to do, that's where my network comes into picture. So when you come into one ecosystem, by default, you get access to the extended ecosystem as well. And we do our best to ensure that you find someone within your industry, within your domain specific, within your specific requirement. And this is why TG10X also actually started. We never wanted to be another ecosystem. We wanted to unify all the ecosystems to solve such problems.
Actually, I'm very thankful to you guys, because when the first TG10X video came, I was in Malaysia with my client and I was really shocked. I was shocked that this is happening in India, because I've been to multiple, I've been selected by University of India, some schools. I've been regarded by the Swiss Embassy, and I've seen their initiatives. And when I saw something like TG10X happening, it was a proud moment for me, because I've left Hyderabad, I've gone to Delhi to know logistics, to know manufacturing. I didn't care about my college, I didn't care about anything, because I started my business after 2 weeks of my 12th exam. So I was very sure I was the first founder, I knew I had to do everything. So when I saw the first TG10X video that came up, I was really proud that that's happening in Hyderabad.
Yeah, very good. The visionary sitting right here, Naidu garu. Thank you.
Great. Yes, please.
So I see a few entrepreneurs as those set of people who do not know when to stop when they are playing the gambling game. वो लॉस में ज्यादा रहता है with the hope that शायद मैं next game जीत लूँगा.
Sunk cost fallacy.
What is your suggestion to those entrepreneurs who are going into loss and they don't know where to stop?
I'll give a very quick answer and then I would like to pass on. One is know your limit, know your threshold, and know when to pivot. Right? Now, if you want to keep a ballpark loss of, let's say, until 30,000, that's it. After that, I'm going to rethink. I'm going to seriously rethink, right? Then you should have the discipline to stop by then. That would be my answer.
So there are 3 stages. Stage 1, you see not working, you make a mistake, and you keep making the mistake. Sorry for using this term, but we call them fools. Stage 2, you make a mistake, you learn from it. Okay, I will not make the mistake again. I'll stop here, pivot into something else. Call them wise. Third stage, you look at peers around you. You look at their journey. Maybe they may be very similar, the kind of journey they have had, the kind of thing they were building. And you also notice that what was the failure point in them, and then you learn how not to make those failures, how not to make those mistakes. We call them intelligence. Now, choice is yours, which category you want to fit in. With specific regards to like pivoting, I think two people on my left will be the better person to guide. But what we have seen with our work at TGIC, especially talking to the tier 2, tier 3 founders, there have been multiple instances, and that's where role of a right mentor comes into picture. That person, that can be your guiding light, that can be one of your board members, can be anybody. But I'm using the term with a lot of emphasis, that right mentor. Not every mentor is a right mentor. Please get this fact right. I've always been teaching to a young founder that a right mentor is the one who knows the way, goes the way himself or herself, and then shows the way. So these three phases are very, very important. And whenever you feel stuck, you always turn to people who know better than you. Because there's no harm in accepting and admitting that I know only till this point. Now after that, maybe the person who was emailing Melia, that person maybe like was reaching a threshold that reach my interest level, and after that you help me out. But this also cannot happen every time. You can't take your mentor for granted. He can show you the way once, twice, thrice, but not every time. That becomes a habit, and that's a very, very wrong approach and attitude to even approach your mentor with a certain request. But I would love to hear the insight from the two.
See, first scenario is pretty rare. Even if you're going in loss, but you see those, the most important factor that defines you going towards PMF, that is retention. If you have retention, if you have users coming to you, and they are using your product, maybe they're not paying for it right now. See, user and customer का दर्जा तभी मिलता है जब जेब में से पैसे निकाल के, right? The person who pays you, only then that person becomes your customer. Until then, that person is a user, lead, whatever, right? But if you have users and the users are, you know, coming back to you again, you have good retention, but you're not able to make money. That is a fault or flaw in the business model, and that is something which can be figured out. It might take time, but you are still hanging on to it because you have users, because you have retention. And retention is the strongest point of telling you that, yeah, you might have PMF, right? You might have product market fitness. Like in the case of Google, it took 4 years for them to make their first revenue, right? In fact, they hired an economist called Halvarian, who then helped Google, you know, design the cost per click model, based on which Google is now where Google is. It roughly makes around $10,000 every second as we speak. It's a huge company, but it took them 4 years for them to understand. But the point that they hang on to was there were a lot of users who would come to Google again and again, so they had that intention. In the second case, if you are building something new, and we are very emotionally attached or connected to our ideas, like mera bacha sabse acha bolte hain, it's like that. But see, the best motivator is revenue, and after a point, let's say 4 months or 6 months, depending on your, you know, startup, if your startup is not able to generate revenue, either you're not fit or you just have to leave it, right? Revenue is the only and the best motivator. It is not a person, it is not a speech, it is nothing else. If you're not able to make revenue, then revenue is the strongest validator. So if you're not able to make revenue after a point, now like how Fatima mentioned about, you know, keeping a threshold, like, so a time threshold, 6 months, this is my aim, I have to do at least this much revenue. But if you don't have that deadline, then just keep flowing and flowing and flowing, and then in a not so good way, you'll have to accept that, you know, this is not something that it should be working on. So revenue and retention is the only two things, and this is the most common phase situation that I see in startups.
Thank you. I want to add my perspective as a founder before we take the next question. One of the things that many startup founders miss is planning based on the industry and sector they were in. For example, the student before mentioned, they're building in the logistics and manufacturing space. That is a heavily intensive space for which a large fund might be required. So you can't go in thinking, okay, I will start making money in 3 months or 6 months. But planning properly based on the industry or in the idea you're filling is extremely important, and the basic knowledge of how finance works in startups is also very important. What you've said is basically sunk cost fallacy. Those who want to continue should not continue just because I already put it 2 years. Why don't I make it turn around? See where the core problem is. Is it that you're not able to get customers? Is it any of the things that the other panelists mentioned? Or is it the idea market fit, or nothing is working? Then you have to really go into the core of the problem and fix it. and definitely set your financial ideas in place and have realistic expectations, based on the sector that you're working in. Maybe if it's a mobile app that you're building, you might actually be able to launch it faster, but if it's a factory you're building, you might need more time for it. So factor those in. Okay. You had some question. Yes.
What would be the mindset for the founder who is working on a very niche idea? Why? Because for them finding a right mentor is also very difficult. Why? Because people doesn't listen first of all what their mindset, their emotional problem. So in that way, they are unable to get a right mentor to work on that niche idea. So how would be the reverse version for those?
You're talking about a founder in a very niche area and then who needs some support to, for example, a mentor or a coach that he's unable to find. Is it? Right. Thus, most of the time it happens. The only way that you can solve is you trying to understand what are the, sometimes your answer comes from unrelated areas. So you need to find out what could be the way in which we can connect to ecosystems, enablers or incubation centers which can be remotely connected. Maybe if you can go in and talk to them, you can get ideas that you would not have thought about it. Say for example, there is this one student at my place and then he was looking at to design footwear for people who have deformed foot. And then he wanted to have an app made and then he can scan it and then take the dimensions and make 3D printing for it. But in this, he was looking at, can we use materials for 3D printing? In that particular area, he didn't have people who were expertise in those materials. So we started looking at, and then we went down to an institute in Hyderabad called Footwear Design Institute. There I reached out to one person and I talked to them. And then they said, fine, this is a very unique area that we don't have the expertise, but maybe from mechanical department from another university who is working on material sciences, we could get connected. So these guys from engineering, we talked about footwear design and we went back to mechanical engineering. So your ideas could come from places that you would not have even thought about it. So that's the reason why I'm saying remotely, if they are connected, go there and then try to understand what they can do to you. That's something I can advise. If can anybody add to this?
Sahil, you've been quiet.
You might have to probably knock more doors than the rest. So please be prepared for that. Now, Samir sir already covered about the technical aspect of it, how you can find via also, and that also really helps. But sometimes purely from a motivation standpoint, speak to another founder who's also into such a niche area and help to understand from them how did they sail through this journey. When they started, even they were brand new, right? No one would have thought that, okay, such a problem or solution could exist. So probably just having such peer founders to help you with the motivation when you're in a niche area also tremendously helps. So keep those networks intact.
Good.
And the best way in today's day and age is just be very shameless, as Ilas was mentioning. Just put it out on LinkedIn or Twitter. One incident that I remember from a grassroots founder, very niche product he was trying to build. He was trying to build a specific shoe for snake bites. So there was a big problem in his village that a lot of people lost their life due to snake bites, and he was trying to build a very specifically designed shoe that will prevent him of snake bites. And wrote exactly on LinkedIn and tagged me, tagged TGIC that I'm trying to build this. Can you help me connect to a right partner, right technical validation partner who can help me build this? Now, I also do not have any answer for that. But since I read that tweet, I looked into my database who can help this particular guy. And the answer was right here in Hyderabad, just 500 meters from this campus, the campus called FDDI. Footwear Design Development of India, and I reached out to them. I told them that this is the requirement. Can you help this guy build this? They were very happy that where this guy has been hiding. We have been looking from our last 5-6 years of code that nobody reached out to us. We are a national government a supported entity designing footwear is your specialty. We teach students that art and skill, but nobody so far in our history reached out with a certain request that can we create a special shoe for shoe biting prevention for farmers. And then we connected that guy that has been incubated at FDGI, and now one level of validation has been done, and most likely he is going to get a big grant in support by FDGI and Government of India. So sometimes all you need to be doing is just be shameless, write a small message on Twitter or LinkedIn and tag certain authorities, and you will definitely find. For example, I think recently Hyderabad, Anupam Mittal, founder of Shadi.com came, and one random guy was a blogger. He just put it out on Twitter that I see Mr. Anupam Mittal, you are coming to Hyderabad. I just need 1 hour of your time to do a podcast. And he just dared to write that tweet publicly. He was not afraid to take the shame that my friends will laugh at me. You know what happened after that? How many people know in the room? 2 or 3. Anupam Mittal replied that my team will reach out to you. His team definitely reached out to him with a long email answer that Mr. Mittal will be landing at Hyderabad airport at 8:30 a.m. in the morning. Can you go directly pick him at the airport, and he will give entire day to you. You report whatever you want. And that guy went in Mr. Mittal's car from morning 9:30 till 5:30 in the evening, and he will be recording a day conversation with him the whole day. So sometimes all you need to do is to just be a little shameless, confident, and don't be afraid what people will say. Because we all know in the end what people will actually say. They are anyway not going to say good things about you. So why to worry about people saying not so good things about you? Just be a shameless person as a founder. Yeah.
And
So those charm don't matter. Yeah.
just to add one interesting metric to the Anupam Mittal's case story, the post that went out had less than probably 20 reactions
Yes.
and 3 comments.
Alright guys, on that note, I think we'll bring this panel to an end. Thank you so much to all the panelists. A big round of applause for them, please.
We can take it offline.
Yeah, let's take it offline. There are other things for the conclusion. Thank you.
To stay informed about the startup ecosystem, subscribe to My Startup TV.